Okay, guys, welcome back to Love Heals Podcast. Stories and strategies from healers, innovators, and builders, redefining how we care for ourselves and care for each other. Today we have Derek. Oh my gosh, I just forgot your last name.
Murrell.
Okay.
Murrell?
Murrell's close. I usually get Murrell, but it's Murrell.
Murrell.
Okay, good.
Oh, thank
I was
God
going to
it's
say it
that.
wrong.
Think of
even if I
Purell,
remember.
like the hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Murrell.
Murrell. Okay.
Oh, nice. That
Got
sounds better than Merle.
It does.
Yeah, but I'm sure we're in the South, so you probably get Merle.
I even had a street named after me in Lynchburg.
On purpose?
No.
Oh.
It was
Well, the street might have pre-existed you.
it pre-existed me. Yes.
Lame.
All of this is called Love Heals.
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 Love Heals. Love Heals. No one should have to walk through hardship alone.
Shout out to our season 2 sponsor, Christine Avery with Realty One Group Leading Edge. If you're looking to buy or sell a house in the Lynchburg area, Christine is your gal. She also is bilingual, so hit her up. Anyways, Derek, I'm going to let you do your own little intro. Just give us a quick who you are, and we'll hop into it because I'm sure Courtney's sitting on a mound of questions.
I have no questions.
Sure.
Uh-oh.
We're just winging it. So.
Oh, and really quickly, today we have a live studio audience.
Of one.
Melody is, shout out to Melody. She's behind the camera watching us today, just hanging out. If you have questions during it, go ahead and raise it. We will actually take live questions because why not?
We'll
Yeah.
just show the audience.
Yeah.
Well, the question portion. Okay,
She already has
save it
one.
till the question portion. All right, Derek.
Back to you, Derek.
So I'll give you the Spark Notes version. So Derek Murrell. I grew up in the Northeast outside Boston, was born in Texas. 17 years old, went into the Marine Corps. I was in the Marines for 5 years. I actually, early 2000s, I made my way to Lynchburg, Virginia, went to Liberty, actually, and have an undergrad in finance. I later got an MBA, and I later joined law enforcement, and eventually I got in the feds. I was a special agent with the U.S. Department of State, and that took us to Houston, Texas. We lived in Texas for about 10 years, and then we came back to Virginia, and where I'm at now. I've been an entrepreneur since 2014. I was a full-time real estate investor. After I got out of the feds, all these have cool story pieces in them. And then I currently run a business called Bankonomics. And that's kind of what I do now. And here we are.
Ta-da. Awesome. Derek, how did we meet you? I'm trying to remember. Was it at a breakfast? Leadership breakfast?
I met you. Actually, I think I met both of you. It was at the Alliance Grin and Bear.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
You might have met my wife because she was there. We drove separate and she had to leave early for something. And I think we might have met just a quick, hey,
Yeah.
and then later that night we were talking around the table.
Yeah, I talked with you a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
And then and I think Blake introduced us. Blake from Midstate.
Oh, yeah.
And then from there, the Alliance, and saw you guys around different networking things.
And then we're always up here doing the podcast.
Yeah.
And your
You guys
office is
were up
right
here.
so.
Yep.
You let us borrow your ring
I've loaned
light.
you some equipment here and
I've
there.
snuck into your office when you're out there and taking your stuff. So
Absolutely.
it's been a really symbiotic relationship.
We've waved
Yes.
at you through your glass
Yes.
little
Yeah.
office, so that's fun. Okay, cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, Sarah, I just have to say, that hat makes your eyes pop. It's crazy. You should wear more green.
Thanks.
making your eyes
just got
very
a green
green.
shirt yesterday.
I just wanted to say that because
Thank
it's
you.
crazy.
Thank you so much.
I've never seen them look like that before.
Really?
It's freaking me out.
I've worn this hat before.
I don't know. Anyway, back
All
to
right.
Derek.
Freaking
The
out.
actual. It's just they're very green and they're not normally like that. Isn't that crazy? And your eyes are very blue. And
Yeah.
together we
Yeah.
have blue, green, and brown eyes. This is exciting.
The
Sounds like
rainbow.
a song.
This is
Yeah.
cool.
I'm sure there's
Is
a
it?
country song.
Probably.
It's like
gotta be.
Joseph's coat
Yeah.
of many colors.
Sure.
Many eye colors. So
Yeah.
anyway. All right. Tell us about your experience in the military.
So military is interesting, and one of the things I should add as far as my faith, I grew up in a Christian home, but it was very legalistic. It was independent fundamental Baptist.
This was in Texas.
This was
was in Boston.
I grew up in New England, yeah.
Okay.
Outside Boston.
Got it.
Went to school in New Hampshire actually, and it was all private schools affiliated with churches and stuff like that. And so, by the time I was 17, probably about 16, I knew I wanted to go in the military, and I hated the rules so much that I joined the Marines, which is always ironic, right?
That is very
Yeah, it happens.
That is ironic. Yeah.
So, and I grew up. My dad was a pastor for a while, and so I'm a PK. If you ever heard of that,
I sure have.
and so by the time I almost joined the Army, so I joined the Marines. And for those that are in the military, I'll throw some shade here, just as a funny aside. So I go to this
To our troops.
Love it.
I wanted to be like an Army Ranger and all this stuff, right? And so I went to the Army recruiter, and he's, promises me everything. They're having all these activities and paintball, and we're doing all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, somehow I want to say I went to the Marine recruiter. He wasn't there, but I left my information. He calls me one day, and he was kind of gruff, like, calls me and says, so why are you calling the Marines? And I forget what I said. I was like, well, I think I'm going to join the Army. And he didn't like that answer. He's like, well, you know what Army stands for? And I was like, what? He said, aren't ready for Marines yet. He's like,
Are we on the same team?
he's like, if you want to become a man, you join my Marine Corps. If you don't want to become a man, do not join my Marine Corps.
Perfect.
And I was like, sold.
Yeah, that was it.
And so
That's a little
right. That
testosterone
tracks.
challenge.
Yeah.
He shows up, like, it's funny because the Marines have that specific, like they target probably guys like me at the time. I just wanted that. Oh, wow. So he shows up in his dress blues. My parents had a sign for me because I was under 18.
Okay.
So you have to get parental signatures. And I was off to Parris Island, South Carolina.
Okay.
And that was a 3-month boot camp. I was so young. I was 17 when I graduated high school, but I was always the younger kid in my class. So I graduated. There was like 3 months after high school, went to boot camp, got home from boot camp. I was still 17. Like I had to have been like the youngest
You
Marine.
had to have just turned 17.
Yeah,
Probably.
that's
Yeah.
fresh.
Yeah.
And then like graduated boot camp in January. Then my birthday was a few days later.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Were your parents supportive of that, or were they nervous?
Yeah,
What was going on?
They basically said they'd signed. They didn't want me to go infantry, and so they signed. And of course, I'm talking to my recruiter. I was like, "Hey, could you put me in 0311s like an infantry MLS?" He's like, "Well, it's kind of illegal. I can't do that."
That's kind of illegal. Wait, are you an only child?
No, there's
How many
4 of
siblings?
us.
Okay.
So I have an older sister, older brother, and a younger brother. So I'm middle.
Okay, so you're middle. Okay.
Yeah. So all that to say, I was like, well, I'll just go in the Marines first because all the what I was going to say is that every Marine's a marksman and all this stuff, and every just there's an esprit de corps of the Marines that was pretty cool. So anyway, I went in, and I went to boot camp, then I go to Marine combat training, and then go to Okinawa. So Okinawa, Japan.
That's where my mom was born. My
Oh,
family's
really?
from there.
Cool.
That's fun. That's a blue zone too.
Yeah. So I was in Okinawa for a year, and then while I was there, I wanted to get into Marine recon, is what they called it back then. And so I'd swim and mile every lunch break just to train. And I ended up going to this indoctrination program for this recon program, which was like 2 or 3 days of they just beat the crap out of you.
Okay. Do they call it an indoctrination program, or is that what you call it now?
That's what they called it that, but it wasn't. It was just to see if you could go to the school.
Okay. Interesting.
They called it Indoc program. Yeah.
Okay.
So they had a weird name for it.
Yeah.
But
It's like very specific.
I was trying to get into a field like that. Well, in the meantime, there was recruiters for what's called Marine Security Guard Detachment that guarded embassies. And so I ended up applying for that, and I got that. So after Okinawa, I then went to Moscow, Russia. I went back home, had to do another school in Quantico, Virginia.
Okay.
Then I went to Moscow, Russia for a year, and then from there went to South America for a couple of years.
How old were you at this point?
18. No, just kidding.
Yeah, well, I was 18 in Okinawa,
That's
and then
crazy.
probably turned 19 in there. Went to Russia. I got out of the Marines at 22
That's
as a
wild.
sergeant, as
Really?
E5. Yeah,
That's wild.
That's crazy.
which is crazy because I'll see someone like 22 now, and I'm like,
That's my baby sister's age.
I'm like,
You're guarding
I
the
was getting
embassy.
out of the Marines, or
I was
I'll
carrying a
see,
gun all the time.
or I'll see like a 17 or 18 year old. I'm like, I must have been so stinking young, man.
But you didn't feel it. You must not have, because you're getting some real life experience out
Well,
there.
and you, I mean, the military in general, I mean, they have their way of training you. You know, they break you down, then they build you up how they want you. And So the Marines, basically, you're out of high school, you go to boot camp, and then you just sing about killing people all day. Like it's like you're in war fighter mode. Like you're training, everything you do is mission specific, regardless of your job. It's very very focused on that mission, and they're very good at doing that, especially young, impressionable.
Yeah, 100%.
People.
So if you get out of the military at 22, how lost were you without that structure? Because you went from high school into a very structured, mission-driven environment. And I hear that a lot from people who exit the military. It's like you lose your brotherly companionship, you lose your clear directives, you lose your
camaraderie,
structure.
all that
100%.
stuff.
So what was that like at that age, or did you find a different way to maintain it through a different lens?
It was very difficult, and I would say, looking back, I was like, yeah, it's real tough. I don't think I realized how tough it was immediately. I think over the years that it got tougher and tougher.
Okay.
And we can get into a lot of trauma stuff that I had to deal through, but when I got out of the military, I went to a school. I went to UMass Dartmouth, which was just a state school in Massachusetts for a semester. This is before Liberty. And I think one of the things I had, I was very motivated, and I was very like, go after it, right? So for some reason, I wanted to play football.
Okay.
I never played football before.
That's fun.
Right?
Yeah.
So I go to UMass Dartmouth, and it was like they were doing the 2-a-days in the end of the summer. And so I walk up into I find where's the football coach? And they're like, go here, here, here. So I walk up into this massive room. It's almost like a room like this, probably bigger, but it was like the whole team was in there sitting around. So it was like super awkward. And I'm like,
hi,
where's the football coach? Coach Kavanaugh was his name. And someone's like, oh, go down the hall and third office on the left, or whatever it was. So I walk down and I knock on his door, and he's like,
awesome.
Looks at me. And it was so like out of place. Come to some dude, like totally random. And she's like, how can I help you, son? Or he said something like that. I was like, well, sir, I'd like to play football.
Can I play football, please?
Please, I want to be on the team.
Yeah, and he's like, well, looks at me, and I'm like, I just got out of the Marines. Sorry, I'm late to the program by a couple of weeks, but I just want to play
Sorry,
football.
I was defending our country.
And I'm like, I'm fast, I'm healthy, I'm strong.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you have any video? I was like, well, I never played football before.
Awesome.
Other than like with some buddies in the neighborhood or something, or flag
Does that count?
football.
Yeah.
He's like, no. I told him, I was like, I don't want to play offense. I just want to like linebacker. I just want to hit people.
Okay.
Me too.
And I think he looked at me and he was like, all right, go talk to so-and-so and get your practice gear, show up on Monday.
Incredible.
Nice.
So it was interesting. The thing that hurt me the most with football, I didn't really have a passion for it. And when you start playing any type of sport, a lot of practices, a lot of, like, you have to kind of want to do it.
Yeah.
But I love the practices. I love I broke a school record.
Oh.
Most people hit.
Yeah. Well, no.
Yeah, no, actually.
No, it was interesting because, and I go back into this thing in my mind, like I didn't know the quit point. Like, to me, quitting was dying. Right.
Interesting. Yeah.
And so
Fight or flight right there.
I mean, military.
We had, at the end of the semester, it was like, all right, we're going to do this fitness test, and then, when we come back next semester, you kind of work out over the break and all this stuff, and you're jumping and doing this thing and the bench press, and then one of the exercises, I'll just share, one of the exercises was when you sit in that, it's like the push press, you sit back and you push your legs up.
Yeah.
Right. And so I weighed 218 at the time. And for context, I'm about 250 now.
Okay.
So I weighed 218 at the time. I said, all right, well, for this evolution, we're gonna double your weight, and then you do as many reps as you can.
Sounds great.
So, and they're like, we'll round you to 220. So we'll put 440 pounds
Perfect.
on this.
They'll round up, no worries.
And just do as many as you can. I was like, what do you mean as many as I can? They're like, just go
Yeah.
until you can't anymore.
Quit or die.
Until it
So
crushes
I'm
you.
thinking, like, go until I like die.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. So I start going. I start pumping them. I ended up doing 37 reps.
That's insane.
And it beat the school record at the time. I don't know if anyone beat it since then, but like 7 or 8 reps.
That's
Whoa, 7 or 8.
I couldn't walk for like 5 or 10 minutes after.
He's just laying
So
there.
the school record was like 7 or 8, and you did 37, or you did 7 or 8 more than the
I did
record?
7 or 8 more.
Oh, okay.
So
okay. That's
the record
really
was say
impressive.
30ish, and I did
yeah.
37. It was something like that.
That's
crazy.
very impressive.
That's so much. That's wild.
And I always say that story, not because I wasn't even good at football, but just as a tenacity. It was like a mindset thing, right? And so one thing that I think carried over, because to your question, did I struggle? Well, I think those type of things helped me get through a little bit. I think as I got older and then started disconnecting more from that discipline, then you start feeling, the camaraderie or what it was like, or friends.
Like lost a little bit.
The other thing is a lot of people don't understand you. Just a reason you have camaraderie, and anytime you suffer with people, you have pain with people, you're closer to them. I mean, military is a good example, but in your own life, if you walk through difficulties, you naturally have a closer bond. And so I think the military, if you're going through times that suck, it sucks for everyone, but you get closer by it.
Yeah.
Closer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
There's a shared suffering, shared perspective, and then you can talk about it later.
100%.
I get that. Honestly, I didn't suffer that same way, but in the restaurant industry, when you get slammed and like your table's yelling at you and the kitchen's disaster and you're having a miserable night, like everyone is. And then at the end, you're just all laughing. You're like, that was hilarious that just happened.
And it's like you have each other's back.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, you all kind of, if there is someone there, I'll use kind words, but if there's someone there not pulling their weight, it's like you pile, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you raise the standard and you're like, here's the standard, and you cover each other and all that stuff. It's the same concept.
Yeah. So was that tenacity always there as a kid? Like, would you say you have glimmers of that through your childhood that kind of pointed that direction, or was it refined and pulled out through the military?
I would say it was refined and pulled out in the military. I would say growing up, knowing what I know now, I was always like an underdog. So remember, I was always a year younger than everyone.
Right. So you always had to fight for your
if
place.
I'm in with a bunch of 15-year-olds, I was probably 14. I was like hanging out. You know what I mean? So when you're growing up, I mean, a year, 9, 12 months, I mean, that's a lot of maturity. Never mind if a kid stayed back and they're 2 years older than me, right? And so sports, it was always tougher. It was, so I had to, grin and bear a lot more. So I think I built an underdog mentality, because even now, I'll often say, like, I smell blood in the water. Like, so if I'm competing, I can compete with someone, and if there's a necessary means to go ahead, when I see pain when I see kind of blood in the water, it's like I can go into second gear and like surpass, right?
Yeah.
And I use it as it's a competitive edge in a way.
Yeah.
Now in business, I don't even really believe in competition per se.
Okay.
But as far as when you sit down and you got to do your work or your nonprofit or your business or whatever it is you're doing, like, you have to have some type of competitive edge. So when I went to the Lynchburg Police Academy, probably, I want to say it was 2010.
Okay.
And I got first in that class.
Nice.
And so, and there's like first in fitness and there's like different levels, and I got to do the class speech and stuff like that. But part of me is like, I can, if I put my mind to it, I can play like an underdog role and then screech out a top. So I liken it to like if I'm in a race, right? Well, if we're racing a mile and you're beating me, well, I'll let you stay in front of me. And then when I notice, I'm like, oh, she's really struggling. I'm like, then I'll kick it in, because then I know mindset wise, like you're having a hell of a time.
The
basically.
mindset is,
and then,
yeah.
So it's more like a kind of a strategy in a sense.
Yeah.
Mindset. Yeah.
What shifted that mindset from, like you said, you don't really see business or competition in business as much anymore. So what shifted that?
Well, when I got in real estate, so I did I did some Lynchburg stuff here, and then in Lynchburg, worked at BWXT for a little bit actually, and then when I got in the feds after that, so I was a special agent for 3 years, and then I left. When I left that job in Texas, I jumped into real estate investing, cold turkey.
It was like the football team all over again.
It kind of was.
Can I invest in your real estate?
Well, and it was interesting because the federal, the government job in the State Department, we covered all their embassies and consulates overseas. We covered federal like visa and passport fraud cases, and then we protected dignitaries. So I protected presidents, prime ministers,
Really cool.
Hillary Clinton multiple times,
So interesting.
Prince Harry multiple times.
Wow.
Like a lot of because our agency would pick them up. So
That's cool.
think of Secret Service is to the president. We were to the Secretary of State, but we also covered dignitaries. So if another, the defense minister of Israel came into town and went to Fort Worth and went to, was it Lockheed Martin? They were looking at some fighter jets. Well, our agency controls the security element while they're on our soil, right? Even though they have their own security.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Did
Yeah.
you like that job?
I did, but it was an awesome job for a single person. So I quickly found. So when I was in Houston, that was my hub. I was probably traveling 65% of the time, overseas
That's cool.
and domestic, and we covered the Rio Grande Valley of Texas. So that cone at the bottom of Texas, on the border, there was Laredo, Brownsville. Brownsville's the point, but there's Laredo, McAllen, and Brownsville. So I would often embed with the customs teams, and we do stuff on the border, narco stuff and all that, and law enforcement activities. Well, all that to say, yeah, if you're a single guy, it's kind of cool. But when you have a family and kids, I quickly saw like the guys that were in the agency for 10, 20 years, a lot of them were divorced multiple times. And like I saw that hard road ahead. And I told my wife, and this time, I'm in my mid 30s at this point, and I said, well, here's the options, because they expected us to move every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, that's hard.
Because we covered the world. So like they're like half of your career is probably gonna be overseas.
Right.
And so I knew that going in. But then when you live it, it's like, I wonder if my family's going to flourish. So by the time my time in Houston got up to a limit, about a year out, you apply, you do your dream sheet of where you want to go.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like Paris, Madrid. They're like, no. you're a rookie agent. Like, no.
You're going to the desert.
So all of that dwindled down. My list was I can go to Afghanistan for a year. Because we had hundreds and hundreds of agents in Afghanistan and Iraq.
They're calling that the new Paris now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new Paris. Carjackistan. No, I'm just kidding. So
Beautiful.
They said I could go to Afghanistan for a year or Iraq for a year.
Those were your options.
Or the third option was to be on the what they call the mobile security deployment team, which was like the high speed, low drag, like the specialty teams based out of DC. But then they travel 80% of the time to go to all the worst places in the world.
I see.
So I talked to my wife about it, and I said, well, two options. One is I could do my little tour for a year unaccompanied in Iraq or something, and then probably get like a mediocre post in West Africa or something, take the family there. So we're talking another 4 years, 5 years out before we're back to the U.S. Or if we thrive in that, maybe that's good. Or if we don't think we'll thrive in that as a family, then I need to have an exit plan now.
Right.
So before I got my federal agent job, I was here in Lynchburg, and I applied for that job twice. The first time I applied, I did not make it. It's a very difficult interview process. It's 4 layers. It's half a day plus.
Oh.
And I made it through like all the stages except for the last stage. And they said, unfortunately, you didn't meet whatever the requirement was, so you can try out for in another year. So a year comes later, I try out again. This time I make it, which was common. A lot of guys don't make it their first go around. So I make it, and they give me a contingent offer. You have to get your medical and security clearance. Well, I'm going to tell you how I got into real estate, because it's an interesting story. From the time I got approved for the federal agent job to the time I got my class to go, I was at a wedding and I had a pain in my side. out of state. I was in New York at a wedding in Buffalo, and
Buffalo.
Love Buffalo.
we had a severe pain in my side. I didn't know what it was. My wife's from Delaware, so we drove back to Delaware, and
With the pain?
With the pain, yeah. I was popping like ibuprofens and stuff.
Sure.
So we get to Delaware, then we were going to come back down to Lynchburg, and this was the planned trip anyway. And it was like 3 a.m. I told my wife, I'm like, I got to, and I'm not a hospital guy. Like, it's got to be really bad for me to go to the hospital, or ER especially.
Yeah.
I'm like, we got to go. And so we go. And they did some tests, and they quickly found out my right kidney ruptured.
Ooh.
So it was basically...
That ibuprofen was keeping it together.
Everything, holding everything
Shout out to
together.
ibuprofen.
So it ruptured. That was the pain I was feeling.
That's crazy.
So the folks in the Delaware hospital was like, well, we could put a stent in to relieve the pressure. You'll feel better, then that will get you down to Virginia. Then you can go and get the rest of the test done. So I did that, got to Virginia. Long story short, they said my right kidney was basically 99.9% not functioning.
Well,
And they were like, the best route's to remove it. So I removed my kidney. And I thought, so now I'm in the hospital. My kidney's removed. I'm high as a kite on this pain medicine. And I'm watching the TV. And I'm like, this is my dream job. I just lost it, right? Because of my kidney. Because remember, I got approved,
yeah.
got
Right.
cleared, and now I have this,
Now
just
you're-
throwing a right kidney missing now.
Yeah,
Like,
you're not going to pass that medical clearance now.
yeah. So I thought, and it turned out I was able to pass it.
Oh, really?
As long as you had clean bill of health. They're like, oh, tons of people have one
I was
kidney.
about to say, that's
Okay,
pretty
so it was
You
okay.
can have one.
Okay.
But when you're not in that, like, you don't know. So
Right.
I'm like bummed out. And this guy on this TV, like, I don't know who he was, Carlton Sheets or some real estate guru, was like, it's like 3 a.m. He's like, yeah, you can make money and build your own life and, all the stuff, right?
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I should look into this when I get home.
People with one kidney could do that.
So I get home and I'm like, real estate investing, and I found some guy's course, and it was like $797 for this course, and I'm like, I bought it, gets sent to me. I start studying it. I'm like, I think this is cool. This isn't like realtor. This is like either flipping houses or flipping paper attached to houses and all this stuff. Well, in the meantime, I go through my medical, and lo and behold, I'm approved, and I get sent to class. So I'm like, all right, real estate's on the back burner. So fast forward 2.5 years, we're having this discussion about, should I stay in this job? And I'm like, what about that real estate stuff? And maybe that's my exit plan. So I started studying that real estate, and I bought this guy's mentorship. So that's another $10K, and then I got to put marketing. So I 50, 60K on credit cards. And I decided, I did a couple small deals while I was still working in the government. I have some funny stories on that. I don't know if I should say it on a podcast.
That's fair.
It's up to you. We can just bleep out the whole thing and you can tell us.
Yeah. But I did a couple small deals, so I knew it was like, okay, this works. And then
Yeah.
I'm like, what if I use the best hours of my day to do this versus all the best hours of my day was work, right? So I closed my first deal. I was in China on a 2-month
Crazy.
trip. So I had to go to Shenyang, China, which was northeast China up near North Korea. And I worked out of our consulate doing fraud investigations up there.
Okay.
While I was up there, I had 2 real estate deals under contract.
That's crazy.
One of my deals closed, and the other deal, the guy wanted to sue me.
Perfect.
And I'm on like this 13-hour difference, and
Oh, that's funny.
so it's just all the scary business stuff. Plus, you sprinkle a little bit. Oh, I go to China for 2 months and sprinkle a little bit of this, a little bit of that, But the point is, you can achieve anything if you keep going.
yeah.
All that to say is, we decided to leave the government. So I left health insurance. I left, a W-2 job, cushy job for all intents and purposes, with some cool access, take-home vehicle, all the kind of creature comforts of at least just a solid government, possible pension. Walked away from it all, cold turkey. Dove into real estate investing, and that was the end of 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, did the guy sue you? What happened? I
No.
got to know what happened to the lawsuit.
What happened was, so when I first started in real estate, I cut my teeth doing what's called wholesaling, assignments of contracts.
Okay.
And this is back, again, 2013 or so. So
Yeah.
people do it now. It's a little bit more wild, a little bit more aggressive now. But I would get a house under contract. for $50K. And then I would go to investors that wanted to buy it for rentals or flip. And I'd say, hey, I got the house for $60K.
I see.
And then if they wanted it, I wouldn't sell the house. I would assign my contract, and then they would take over my interest. But then I made like a 10K spread.
Crazy.
Or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I learned this is part of that mentorship.
Right.
It was just one strategy. It was like all these I thought house flipping, HGTV, like there's way more stuff you could do.
Yeah.
All that to say is I was over in China, and there's this other company that says, hey, I'll help you move that deal, and we could do like a split or something. Well, they took all the pictures I had and like threw it on Craigslist, and the guy found his pictures, and he was livid. And then I couldn't get a hold of this other dude, was kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
And, I'm still figuring stuff out.
Right.
I can't get a hold of him to take the pictures down, and this guy is all ticked off because his, sister's boyfriend called him up and said, hey, you're all over Craigslist. And he's like, it was just a weird,
Yeah. Okay.
just like the daily, drama. And so no, he never sued me.
He's just pissed.
Yeah. And,
Okay.
he kind of threatened me, and I was like, I didn't say anything about I'm a law enforcement.
Hey, I'm in China.
I'll just deal. Yeah. So that kind of just went away.
Okay.
Nothing bad happened.
This crazy. Okay.
But imagine your new business is like, you have all the nervous, and you have one's going down, and one, you know what I mean? Like just all the stuff.
I think it's important to touch on that more of like the risk and the fear and the amount of grit it takes to push through your own fear.
And here's a bigger, so this whole time, so I became a Christian. I don't believe I was a Christian growing up. I grew up in a Christian home, but I don't think I was an actual Christian.
Yeah.
I became a Christian after the Marines in Lynchburg at a coffee shop.
Oh, which
Yeah.
one?
Which one? Yeah.
Well, it's no longer here. It was called the Drowsy Poet
Oh, yeah.
next to campus.
Okay.
I think there's I forget what's there now, but it's on the edge.
Yeah.
I mean, it closed down.
I heard of the Drowsy Poet though back in the day.
And then there was another one, but it was a small coffee shop.
Yeah.
This is like 2002,
So what happened?
like when I became a Christian.
Yeah. What happened in the coffee shop?
Well, I would say this: if you would ask me how I came to Lynchburg, it's an interesting story because this was not on my bingo card to ever come to Liberty or Lynchburg, right?
Yeah.
So
Especially when you've been all over the world, like out of all the places.
Yeah. And so I can, if you want me to give you the open and honest, transparent reason why I came here,
Yeah.
Usually.
or I could put the rosy answer.
No, I hate
All right.
that.
So, and it's a horrible reason I came here, right? So I got, I went to these Christian private schools, independent, fundamental, King James only schools my whole life, right? And it was like my dad was adamant on it. My parents were. And so did my Marine stuff, came home. So I'm at University of Massachusetts. So I'm at that semester, and I'd come home here and there. My parents it was like an hour or so from there. Anyway, I got into an argument with my dad, and we can get into dad issues too if you want to. That's a whole other topic.
Hey, whatever you want. We're covering
I have
all
a
of
wide
it.
swath
Yeah,
of stuff,
that's
but
great.
I do like to share as long as it can influence others and help them out.
Yeah.
And hopefully you don't have to go down the roads I went. But long story short, we're getting in an argument, and I said something like, you always wanted us to go to these Christian schools, now you don't care, blah, blah, blah. I forget. But anyway, my dad was like, well, I'll give you $2,000, which is nothing really for school, but I'll give you $2,000 if you go to Liberty.
Okay.
And that was wild to me, because I grew up like Liberty was like super liberal.
Oh.
They would have thought Jerry Falwell was like compromised.
Oh, you did grow up like
That is very, very.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
Like
That
the
adds
kids,
more context.
Melody's dying at that.
The kids I went to high school with would go to like Bob Jones and like Pensacola Christian.
Pensacola
Yeah.
is very,
Very strict.
Like, yeah.
Boys,
Yeah, Bob
girls
Jones
don't walk on the same side of the road.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of school, like that was the funnel right there. The sales funnel was
I
into those
see.
schools.
Yeah.
Liberty was
You're
like
what sales funnel is this?
So my dad said that, and I knew Liberty. One of my buddies went to Liberty and from high school, and he did like ecstasy and partying. So I'm like, it can't be too bad.
Okay.
Now, mind you, the Marines, I was not living, well, I wasn't a Christian, and I was, my faith was, I was never an atheist. I was never an agnostic. I would say I was a skeptic. And even in the Marines, I remember, I knew the Bible too. I remember my parents, when I was at Camp Lejeune area, they sent some, they reached out to someone they knew, and they sent on a, what do they call it at night when they go out? Visitation, they would call it, right? So they sent these 2 guys, they come up to my barracks, and they knock on the door. I'm picturing like Ace Ventura and like
something really cool.
Yeah, they probably had a suit
cool.
on, and a big old Bible or something. But all I remember is they knocked on the door and said, "Hey, your mom said you were here, and we wanted to do this and that and talk." And I wanted nothing to do with it. All I remember was he started reciting a verse, and I finished the verse for him. I slammed the door in his face.
Good
I
job.
wanted nothing to do with it. Right?
Yeah.
Sick.
And so I was skeptic, right? So now fast forward a few years, I'm talking with my dad, just got out of the Marines. He said, "I'll give you $2,000 to go to Liberty." I knew some of my buddies was, I knew there was partying down here. To what extent, I
At
had no
least
idea.
something.
Can't be too bad.
Yeah.
But I also knew that, you ever heard of the magazine called Playboy?
I sure
Yes.
have.
All right. Well, Playboy rated Liberty girls in the top 10.
Wow.
It's a horrible reason. So I'm thinking in my
That's
head,
hilarious.
as the top 10,
We did it.
it was rated as like the top 10 hot girls. And, people would say like Hugh Hefner or whoever owned it was like, it was a slight on Jerry.
It had to be something. Yeah.
Wow, that's
it's crazy.
hilarious and horrible.
Who would have thought?
So here I am. I apply for Liberty. They're like, "Oh, you have a pulse. You're approved." So I come down.
Fair. Classic.
Yeah.
I drive down in my car with a Massachusetts license plate. Don't know a soul. Lived on campus my first semester. This is 02.
Did you find the parties?
I did.
Attaboy.
Good.
So I found Gold's Gym we had a Gold's Gym here back then.
Yep.
So go to Gold's, and it was like the girl behind the desk. She's like, "Do you party?" Like and I'm like, "Well, yeah." And so all that to say, I met both crowds. I met the party crowd.
Yeah.
But I also met some good friends that were like solid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I doing my thing during the semester, and they had what's called a spiritual emphasis week, where they would have like some evangelists come in, and it was like church for 3 or 4 nights and
I
stuff.
used to have that at my high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went to that, and the guy who preached, I remember him. It was really good, and it was I was feeling conviction, and I had a lot of the head knowledge already.
Right.
Right. And so it's the heart knowledge stuff, and so I would talk to some of my friends about it, and it was just like overwhelming conviction. So I actually met with one of my friends. I think it was her boyfriend at the time. We met at the coffee shop, and so from there it was like, I prayed, I repented for my sins, prayed for forgiveness, and it was really just, I was emotional. And back then I wasn't very emotional. There's some topics now I'll get emotional on. So we'll see if we discover those. Hope not. But back then it was like emotions are bad. Kind of, that was my mentality.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not that way anymore.
Yeah.
But that was here in Lynchburg. So
That's cool.
yeah, God used well, I'll say this. It's interesting to see, I often talk now about God's providence, right? And so we don't always see, we see his providence more in retrospect.
Yeah.
So after it happens, when we're going through stuff, and this in my life, I wasn't necessarily going through this hard trauma scene in my life. That came later. But looking back, it's like you see God's providence. And as stupid as those reasons were, like, that's why I'm sitting here right now.
It's really cool.
That's cool. Nothing's
Love that.
wasted.
No, never. I want to get into the bankonomics side of things, but first, I think I've heard you outside of this talk a lot about mental health. So what is that like as someone who came from a very legalistic, hyper legalistic background? On top of that, sounds like you didn't grow up in a place with a lot of emotional regulation or control, like.
And then I'm assuming the
Discussion.
military kind of doubled that down. you
Yeah,
know?
so you're coming from like layers upon layers.
Yeah.
What did that transition look like? And how did that happen? What broke through? And what does it mean to you now?
Yeah. So, mental health has been a huge walk for us, especially probably 6, 7, 8, probably 8 or 9 years ago to now, especially. And so that's, upper 30, I'm 47 now. And so I think one thing that's important is for those who have been in certain environments or have certain histories, I pray they don't hit mental health, but some of the time, what I would say is that if you don't deal with certain things, it pops up. It doesn't just go away necessarily. I'm using general terms.
Right.
And obviously I'm not a clinical psychologist or anything. I can only share from my experience and things I've learned. But yeah, the correlation to, I think, growing up, and if there's any childhood trauma, I think that exacerbates and makes it worse. So I think when people have adult trauma, and if they, depending on their childhood trauma or lack of, it affects how they deal with stuff as adults, right? And so, like in the, I go in the Marines at 17, and the Marines, there is no emotion, right? You fight through it. Pain's weakness leaving the body, right?
That's what my dad says.
Yeah, I mean, and I understand why they do that. You can't have people on the battlefield like, oh my goodness,
Right.
So I get it, but the problem with the Marines is, like, in the military in general. When I got out, it was like I took a class for like a day and a half or 2 days or half a day. It's like literally like how to be a civilian. And they're like, here's how you be a civilian again. All right, see you later. Pat you on the butt. Goodbye.
Good job.
That's great.
Good job turning everything off inside of you to go
Yeah.
fight, and now get out there,
Yeah.
champ. Go work at a bank or
Correct.
whatever. Go figure it out.
And that's what happens. And some people do totally fine. Some people struggle. Some people struggle tremendously. When I first hit, and there's trauma I can pin back from childhood, and this is stuff I've learned later in life. Again, when you're going through it, like, oh, I'm childhood trauma, and I'm going through the Marine stuff, and in the Marines, we had some conflict stuff. I mean, car bombs got shot at and stuff, but there's guys that had way worse experiences, right? And law enforcement stuff. I mean, you're briefed on, people's faces getting peeled off, and you see a lot of stuff, whether through briefs or whatever, and, human trafficking, people chained up in houses
Awful.
in America, and all that kind of stuff. And so all those things in and of themselves, you kind of get through the stuff, but then it compiles, and it's just your mind just like files it, right? What happened with my trauma journey specifically was probably around 2016. So I'm doing real estate and doing a lot of real estate. And I would speak at events. I've spoken to hundreds of entrepreneurs, doing classes and networking, and Houston's a massive city. And so I was down there and got into I got a kind of a quasi partner on some deals. We did 4 deals specifically, and I was raising a lot of money. So I would go every Tuesday. I would go to this event, and I would raise money, ask for money, meet with people over and over again. And we can get into the mindset piece here in a second, but just to wrap into the trauma part. Probably about 2016. Me and this guy partnered. He's like, he was more a construction guy, which I don't like that part. but I was able to raise money, and I was kind of bringing money to the table. So we kind of partnered on those deals.
Right.
We weren't business partners like in an LLC, but we partnered on those deals.
Yeah.
And we did 4 deals. So I bought 4 houses in a month. Boom, 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 or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, come to find out, like he was stealing all the money. And fast forward, I mean, 6-figure easily stolen.
Wow.
And it started, it was very stressful. I mean, these houses were like an hour plus away. It took a long time to figure it out. He was lying and this, and it was always getting delayed. And that's how a lot of business is kind of Wild West stuff, especially in that field. And so that started building a lot of stress. Okay. And there's already stress, but then just now you're getting a lot more stress. And I always tell people, like entrepreneurs, it's like, it's kind of sexy being an entrepreneur, and you make money and you put cool stuff on your Facebook, and lions and tigers, and I'm gonna go bring home food for my family, and you want to be a hunter, right? And in some cases, it's kind of cool to picture that, like I'm gonna go hunt and I'm gonna go find deals and all that stuff. But no one tells you when you're out hunting and you think you're a hot shot, and someone shoots you in the leg. And you fall to the ground, and you're like, that sucks. And then someone's like, guess what? You still got to bring home food for your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's something I call about hunting while wounded. It's like, that's what separates the adults from the children, because it's not fun anymore. Now it's survival mode. And so I had to start getting into that mode. And so then I'm like working 7 days a week, all day. And I'm driving, just these houses were a pain. By the time I'm done even messing with these houses, losing money, it's like, oh, I still got to go do more.
Yeah.
I still got to do more deals just to bring home. And my wife at the time, stay-at-home mom, all that stuff, which is great. But all that pressure was just so much. And it just started building the pressure. And then some of the other traumas started creeping up. This is where the trauma started creeping up. And then in 2018, I go to the VA, Veteran Affairs, and they start throwing meds at me. So they maxed me out on 2 different mental health meds. Oh. Maxed out. They build it up, but over.
Did they just do like a baseline assessment on you for that, or did you have to sit with a therapist for a while?
Yeah, I mean, I had to do a lot of assessments. I mean, they go through my history, all the trauma, military trauma, being around car bombs and shot at, and it's like, okay, you have PTSD and major depressive disorder and anxiety. They lump a lot of stuff in, and then
were you like, how long were you in that stage of the process of like the assessment and everything? Yeah, before they gave you the meds. Just curious.
Good question. I would say this. I was about, when I went into, one of the things that ticked me off was I had I had to go through, so the VA has 2 sides. You have the rating side, which is like you have XYZ. Oh, your shoulder hurts from you're rated with a shoulder injury. There's that side, and then there's the medical and the mental health side. They're 2 different sides.
Okay.
So they make us go through both sides, but they're not always talking to each other per se. So I had to go through let's tell your story 50 times to go deep into everything side. And that probably took 6 months or so, maybe.
Wow.
Okay.
And then I set up an appointment with the VA I thought I needed some medicine, and they had me go, and I remember I was so upset because I needed something, I didn't know what. And I reach out, and they're like, set me up an appointment. Yeah, this is an emergency. Cool. We'll set you up in 3 weeks from now. That's how it works. Yeah.
Rush order.
Very helpful.
So I go to this thing 3 weeks from now. They even called me like a few days prior to remind me, and I was like, yeah, and just so I know, I'm able to get medicine today. Like when you can get the stuff. I'm like, okay. So I show up, and it's like it's an intake. It's an intake assessment. They're like, oh, you're not getting medicine today. Like, we're just intaking you. And I think I said something like I'm about to snap. And I see the girl go up to the computer.
He's about to snap.
is about to snap.
And next thing you know, the psychiatrist, so the psychiatrist is the drug dealer, they come in, and she does a quick talk with me, and then she's like, all right, we prescribed you X. You know, that's how,
So it was just
not X, like X as in the medicine.
No, I know. I'm just saying, but
okay.
so you had basically one assessment, and then they prescribed you medication.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Well, then with follow up,
Right,
You know, so it was almost like, all right, get him some, you know, and I was just like, the stress was just so much. I had everything's on fire.
Yeah.
You add in, and now I can go back and like going through it again. You're like, oh, that's Providence. And like you're not going through the thing and you know all the puzzle. Like you're living the puzzle and you don't know what tomorrow holds.
Right.
If you even make it to tomorrow.
100%.
And so that process over time, the answer to a lot of ailments is just, let's increase the meds and see how you are in 3 months. Increase the meds, and so that was with multiple meds. When we moved to Virginia, I wasn't on my radar. Like we were just going to probably stay in Houston, but I wanted, my wife and I said we'll do whatever it takes to get through a lot of this trauma stuff, and so part of it was moved across country. Lynchburg, this area in general, was a lot less stressful than the big city.
So slower.
And we knew it because we lived here before. And at this time, 3 kids, we wanted to, it was a good place to raise a family. And we were already getting into homeschool stuff. And so it's a big homeschool environment here. So we moved across the country. And first thing I did, didn't have all the to know what to do, but I jumped into counseling. So I ended up started with a counselor, a female counselor. I couldn't meet with men. I could not meet with older men. And I think it's because of dad issue stuff. And so I met with her and I'm like, how many times can I come a week? She's like, well, usually 1. And I was like, well, how long do people come to counseling? And she's like, it depends, right? But 3 months, 4 months. I'm like, cool. Could I come twice a week? And she said, well, yeah, we could do that. I'm like, awesome. Could I come 3 times a week? She's like, well, it's a little bit too much. Let's just give it some time.
Yeah.
So I saw her for over a year, and then I sat my butt in over 300 counseling sessions.
Wow.
Twice a week?
What?
Twice a week?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, for years.
Wow.
In the midst of that, unbeknownst to me, I saw an email. There was something at Liberty with the Murph Challenge, that big CrossFit challenge. And there was an ad at the bottom from Valor Farm, National Center for Healthy Veterans. I'm like, what is this? Never heard of them. So I looked them up. They're 30 minutes south of here. So I reached out to them, and I went in their program. I lived on the farm for 9 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Bankonomics, this company was built in my tiny home.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what year is this now?
This is, so we moved here in July of 21.
Gotcha.
I started the farm, it was in December of 23.
Okay.
So we have some time in there, right? So we have a lot of counseling, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of working on myself, a lot of income hits. I was so burned out. One of the first things my counselors had me do, or my counselor had me do, was take I can't remember the name of it, but it's an assessment test for burnout. It's a standardized test. How accurate? I don't know, but it's standardized. And so I took it, and I was in the top 1 percentile of males in my age bracket in America of burnout. And like, I was if we talked even 3 years ago, I'd be totally different. I was 75 or more pounds heavier.
Wow.
I lost 70 pounds in the last year.
That's awesome.
Doing carnivore diet and
Congrats, man.
awful meds, by the way.
Yay. I was going to
Good
ask.
job.
That's awesome.
And which is a whole other story. But so all that to say, I did the farm, and I did when I got, that was a 9-month program, and all of these pieces were needed, and it's a long journey to deal with trauma. But the other thing, if you remember what I said a few minutes ago, I said we already decided we'll do whatever it takes. And so to me, that's almost like a commitment, like going back to that leg press.
Quit or die.
I will die before I quit.
It's very cool.
And obviously, for veterans, quitting, the ultimate quitting is suicide. That's a huge thing. I have several buddies that have killed themselves over the years, veterans. And so, yeah, and I've been to hyperbaric oxygen treatment for a month in Charlottesville. So
Okay.
me and two other guys from my church, actually, we had a nonprofit paid for us.
That's awesome.
Went to Charlottesville, and you go in these tanks, and you're just laying in this thing, and they pressurize it, and they pump 100% oxygen in there. So we breathe about 21% oxygen. They pump 100%.
Wow.
They pressurize it, and then oxygen's going into your plasma, and it's very, very beneficial for like veterans. It's a tip of the spear work for traumatic brain injuries, but also like PTSD and reestablishing mental pathways and stuff like that.
That's cool.
It's also great for healing in general, but. So they sent us up there for a month. It was 40 sessions.
Wow.
It's like a $10,000 treatment.
That's
for each.
crazy.
And a nonprofit out of Florida did it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's really cool. Okay. So I'm seeing a through line again of, what you said of the, if I quit, I'll die.
Quit or die.
But there's also, what I think is really cool is it's like you've taken that same approach. You haven't seen, or I don't know, maybe you did, but you didn't act on it of like, it's a weakness to need help. You didn't really act on that. You kind of just grabbed it and was like, I'm going to get better.
Yes. And here's the thing. There's a lot of people that want to help. There's, counselors and, you pay for a lot of it. You know, the farms, for veterans, veterans don't pay. They raise money and stuff. And, the farm is very, very key piece. Learned so much. But there's something I learned. So now looking back, and I still, all the struggles are still, you still struggle with stuff. It's not like trauma just goes away.
Right.
It's how you deal with it. There's still a business guy, right? I do want to mention this too about Bankonomics. What's interesting with it is, again, you see God's providence in retrospect. I was so burned out by real estate. I haven't done any real estate here in Virginia. I did hundreds of deals in Texas. Like, I know real estate. I could, and the joke is I'm getting the itch back.
Oh.
But I promised my wife, and I think this is wise as well, the word focus, Focus, follow one course until successful.
Exactly.
So hard for me.
Oh, really hard.
Because, and it's a mind thing, because sometimes jumping to the other thing, it feels easier.
Right.
But that has all the problems too. So it's like, I want to focus and build this out. But I was so burned out in real estate, I didn't even want to look at another house. But it was like I had to do it to pay the bills, right? And so probably about 2020, 2021, CEO of a company, a veteran-owned company, they taught real estate education to military folks and veterans. And he reached out to me. He's like, hey, I used to talk about this strategy I learned 10 years ago. I was using it as a client. And it was building my own banking system using things like certain types of whole life policies. And it got me really, back then, I started learning how bad the industry was, how all these products weren't set up right. And so I was super picky. One product, I lost thousands of dollars. And so I was like, I don't like these life insurance agents. I did not. So I would go on these videos and I would just talk in these veteran groups. Hey guys, think of this strategy, do this, do that. Well, I wasn't an agent. Well, he reached out to me and said, hey, that life insurance stuff you talk about, that's pretty cool. Can you teach that or do that with our clients? And I was like, nah, dude, I don't want to, because one, I don't like life insurance agents. And two, I don't want someone to hear me say whole life and then they go out and say, oh, I heard there's a strategy with whole life insurance, and this guy Derek talked about it. Well, these other companies will, oh, we do whole life insurance, then they can get into a really crappy policy.
Right. Okay.
And I'm like, I don't want that. So anyway, for a few months, we went back and forth, and finally I told the guy, I was like, look, man, I'll do it on two conditions. One is I'll never write a policy I would not write for myself or my family. And we have 6 policies in our family right now. And I said, number 2, if we do it this way, we'll make 5 times less money than our competitors if we do it the right way. And he was like, yeah.
Ooh.
I was like, all right, I'll get my license. Now I have clients all over the country. I'm
Awesome.
licensed in like 20 something states.
You're like, we're going to lose money on, well, not lose money, but we're going to make less
Yeah,
than
well,
the other guys.
And it's the whole thing about do it right. That is my unwavering stance. I've talked to different people wanting to partner, and that's like flag in the sand. Like if I write a policy, so I am an agent. I'm very niche. I don't, there's a lot of things I could sell. I won't. I'm against them. I have a very specific process. Bankonomics, think of it as a process. It's about the economics of banking and creating a banking system in your family, a private banking system.
Cool.
Corollaries to like really wealthy families. But it comes down to like, how do we do it? We do it the right way. And it's super simple.
Yeah.
One thing I learned is the complexity is the enemy of execution.
Yes.
And so, and it's easy for we were talking personality earlier. It's easy for my personality type to be like super complex. And like, here's the 38 steps to talk to a client.
Yeah.
Like, I want to break stuff down so it's so simple, but I want to do stuff the right way where everyone in insurance should be, have you talked to Derek from Bankonomics? Because I could tell, I have no problem if someone uses someone else, but talk to me because I'll just give you my honest opinion.
Get some feedback.
100%. And so, but here's what's interesting. I would talk while I was a real estate guy, not an agent. I would talk to my buddies. We would talk if we were investors, and I would talk you into the strategy, and you'd be sold. You'd be like, "How do I do it?" And I'm like, "Well, talk to my guy." I wasn't getting paid a penny on it. I just love the topic.
Yeah.
So here's what's interesting. Looking back, I was so burned out with real estate, moved across the country. And just before we moved, I was still in Texas when I was talking to this guy, Markian is his name. And we were going to partner on some stuff. And so we did. I partnered with that company on this insurance leg. That's how I got started. And so a lot of my early clients were from their pipeline.
Okay.
That's how I got started. And I love that topic so much, it wasn't work for me. So think about that. Like, you know, I still had to provide for my family, but God used a topic that I could talk for hours. I still can. I could literally sit in here and talk for hours about it.
You're like, I'm just having fun.
Now, there's some stuff, like I need to hire some admin people because I hate admin work. That stuff is not fun for me.
There's stuff that comes with the territory.
There's stuff that comes with the territory, but strategy, objections. I love talking to Dave Ramsey fans because we have some different philosophical twists.
Okay.
I love objections. God built me in such a way, like I love tension. I feel like I can handle it politely but talk educated, you know, about but it wasn't work for me. So God used that. Now I'm making a little bit of money with them. In 2024 in January, we broke off. Everything was great. They wanted to focus on their main thing, and they had some other things hanging out, which one of them was what we were doing with life insurance. So they were like, "Hey, could we just cut this off and just you go for it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was in my tiny home. So that's when I was like, I already had this name, Bankonomics. I was using it as like, this is our process.
Bankonomics is the process. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
And it's so that's how this was born. So
Wow.
now I would say since last year, end of last year, I've started to feel more alive, dealing so much with trauma that it's still stuff I have to deal with, but it's measurable. I learned a lot about ruminating. And so ruminating is when all you do is talk about your problems and you start becoming a self-fulfilled prophecy about
Just
your
live
problems.
in it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's layers of like, I don't have the formula, but you need to talk about stuff. But then if you're still talking about the same stuff a year later, 2 years later, you're ruminating.
Right.
One thing that first real estate program going back to 2013, 2014 when I left the government, like he had, and this is a challenge for Christians, he had a really good like mindset section. So this is when I first heard about Napoleon Hill,
Okay.
Think and Grow Rich, all that stuff. And it was like, I never heard about like the success rules and like how to get your goals and vision. And he was big into declarations and affirmations. And I have my opinions of that now as I grew into my faith. But what the world does really well is giving you tools to do things that are very hard, like success level tools. Like do this stuff, like you're disciplined. Like, what are you doing every day? Are you reading Miracle Morning? Are you writing? Are you, meditating, visualization?
Yeah.
Well, now, so I started a Christian men's group earlier this year called the Warhorse Council. We can talk about that if you want.
Love it.
But part of it was because I needed it. Part of it's marketplace evangelism. Part of it is like I want to be bold in my faith, but I'm also a lot of church hurt growing up. So I'm very against Christianese. I don't like the cliche. Like you're probably not going to look on my website and see Bankonomics, John 3:16.
Yeah, right.
I would hate that.
And because I want people to see when you ask me about my faith, I'm bold about my faith. And hopefully once you talk to me for long enough, like, I think this guy's a Christian. And that's important to me. But what I found was in the secular world, you have a lot of the self-help industry. And some of them are so stinking good. But here's what I noticed too as a business owner. Business owners, and I'll speak for business owners, and I speak for men. I have a men's group. It's just not against women. It's just I'm a guy. And
very fair.
I'm kind of,
You're allowed to do that. It's okay.
Well, and so business owners outsource evangelism to the church.
Ooh.
To the building.
Yeah.
Right? Of course, the church is the people, but they outsource it to the building.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I'm going to give money, and then they go off and do their, tell people about Jesus.
Yeah.
Business owners outsource evangelism to the church. The church outsources all of the principles for success, for abundance, all that stuff. They outsource it to Tony Robbins, and they outsource it to the secular world. Because
that's true.
When you listen to some of the self-help folks, some of them sound very good, but a lot of them will anchor. My first mentor is like this. He would say stuff. I'm like, oh, that sounds Christian, but then he's anchoring. He's like, you want to get in tune with Source or God or whatever you call it, or Buddha or Jesus, and that, like, I always knew that was fundamentally incorrect. And so now I'm like, well, wait a second. If I believe Christianity's true and the Bible's true, like, I want to anchor it in Scripture. Because one, I knew that there's no formula. If you do these three things, you'll be a gazillionaire.
Right.
Right? Just look at the Bible. Like, we just happen to live in a certain environment. So now you have, like, there's this temporal, this common grace where you do certain things is you can be successful. And I started really struggling with that. And there's so many, part of the reason I started the men's group, and the men's group it's not a group where, like, here's the 8 ways to get $8 million in 8 days, like, kind of thing.
Sounds great.
That's not even, like, the whole purpose of the men's group was challenging our identity in Christ. I want everyone around me to be successful. When I say successful, a lot of people think it's money. In all facets of life. Like, I want that for everyone. So going back to the competitor thing, like I'm my biggest competitor because half the time I'm fighting my own, stuff in my own head. And so I want to be around successful people, but I wanted the hierarchy of my success. When I was doing real estate, it was inverted. I was going after money. I was a Christian, but the question is, am I a businessman who's a Christian or a Christian businessman? I want to be a Christian businessman, not a businessman where, as long as I make $1 million, then I'll be like, thank you, God. Like, you have to be that level when times are rough. And so
integrity. I
don't know why. Maybe God just did a supernatural slap, and that's why I went through all this hell on earth for years.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's my journey. And so what I know now is the hierarchy is different. Okay. Is the hierarchy, and I got so into Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, and it was so powerful for me because like everything we need is in those books, right? And there's nothing wrong with reading other books, but I look at other books as like tactical type books, like, oh, here's some ideas, or here's how to start this business, or here's how to do these deals, or something like that. But the Warhorse Council, this men's group that I started, was really, I needed it. And it was hard to find that type of community in church.
Ooh.
It was. And so at the level of commitment, it's hard. It's hard being, for those in the faith, and it's hard being a Christian sometimes. It's hard being a man or a woman. And then you add the layers. You add like this summit, and then it's like, oh, and then you add like I'm an entrepreneur. It's like even harder, and then or you're running a nonprofit, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah.
Like you're getting more to that point, and each of that point gets more lonely and lonely, lonelier and lonelier. And so the key here is like when we read in like Philippians 4, talks about anxiety. Like don't be anxious, but in everything through prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And here's a key thing with anxiety, and I'll shout out to my wife because she really created this word picture, and she speaks to women's events. And she talks about, if you look at that verse, so be anxious for nothing, but in everything with prayer and supplication. It's imagine you're in this dark room. You know it's a room, but you don't know where the walls are. It's so dark, so black. That's anxiety. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And through prayer and supplication, so you're praying for help, but then you're pleading for God. And all of a sudden, that alone gives you some reality that there's a door in this room. And so now you're starting to see this door. You haven't done anything yet. You prayer and supplication, you see this door. But it says with thanksgiving. A lot of people miss this part. Well, thanksgiving is like the hinge to the door. So the door opens. It's like the hinge to the door. But you're still in this dark room. But it says, let your requests be made known to God, and the peace of God, through all understanding, will guard your heart. Will guard your heart. And it's like, you have to take action. And I think that's the big piece where I learned even in business about taking action, because most people, they have their vision of what they want. I want this business or this nonprofit or whatever. They're passionate about it, which is great.
Yep.
Your why, like, why do I do this? Why do I go through this pain? You're passionate about it. But most people fail at the massive, unrelenting 10x action that has to be taken. Yeah. That's the hardest part. And most people do the first two really well. And they
I've
miss,
noticed.
they miss the
grind.
Yeah, we missed the point.
And I have to do it with my business. Like I sat down with my wife, Amy, last Monday, a week from today. And we went through our end of, our July through December goals this year of our own stuff. Going through this trauma journey for us, it's not, it was a financial draining to us, right? Like we had to sacrifice certain things, but we were willing to sacrifice certain things. And, when you look at life, like the stuff that the money or the stuff we have, it's just, it's not even important. Like the importance is eternity and how we think of things after. So all of that to say is I started learning a lot of the self-help stuff and like building a foundation, and like we have to ground it, because that same passage in Philippians, it says, right after the anxiety piece, it says, if whatever is pure, whatever is commendable, whatever is just, whatever is true, whatever, anything of excellence, think on these things. And then it also says, practice these things. And so there's a grounding there that I think is so important especially for Christians to delve into.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's really cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and like sharing just part of your story. We're going to link everything for Bankonomics and all that Derek does in the description below. Courtney, you want to tell them where they can find us?
Go to wearelovehills.org, smash that donate button if you feel like being a generous person. We love business and we love learning strategies, and I appreciate your perspective. And thank you for doing what you do for the community and for leading well from a place of humility and, showing that
vulnerability.
Vulnerability isn't a weakness. So I think more men need that perspective. So I appreciate you leading that out and taking the time to facilitate that in our community.
Yeah. Quit or Die Applied to Mental Health is a really cool. I like it. It's cool.
Really cool. So
Great show. I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, you.
Derek.
Appreciate it.